Welcome back to Law and Crime Daily. We move over to Los Angeles, where That 70s Show actor Danny Masterson is on trial for rape charges. The allegations come from 3 different women claiming that Masterson raped them between 2001 and 2003. And this week, they shared their stories on the stand. On Wednesday morning, one accuser identified as N. Trout said leaving Scientology made her realize she was a victim to Masterson while she was still in the community, saying, quote, "I did not want to think of someone in the church that I was friendly with as a rapist." Trout said the 2003 assault happened after Masterson reportedly forced her to drink wine that caused her to feel, quote, "heavy in body, like a numbness." During that time, Trout thought she was on a tour of Masterson's Hollywood Hills home. But that's just one of many accusations connected to the Church of Scientology. Law and Crime's own Anjanette Levy took a closer look at recent social media outcry from outspoken actress and ex-Scientologist Leah Remini on Law and Crime's podcast, Sidebar, with journalist Tony Ortega.
Leah Remini calls these women credible who've accused Danny Masterson of rape. She said that they reported their rapes to Scientology and to the top ethics officials in Scientology and a few trusted friends. So she's saying these claims are corroborated. And that's now we move to tweet point number 32, where Remini says Scientology has obstructed justice in covering up Danny's crimes, and his case is not the only time they've done this. Scientology has covered up at least hundreds of similar crimes involving sexual violence.
Scientology is very good at intimidating people. And yes, that includes law enforcement. Are they ready for that to be the rest of their career? Because that's what it's going to be. Years and years of vicious fights in courts. And I think the government sometimes just doesn't have the stomach for it.
Terry, it appears the Church of Scientology allegedly altered these women's mindset being a part of this group and saying whether it is or isn't rape. But could that inconsistency in the beginning of their story cause reasonable doubt in the trial?
Well, it could. You know, the question of consent is certainly going to play a huge role in this case. If someone consents, but they thought they had no other choice, was that really consent? What I will say is that under California law, rape is defined as using force, threats, or fraud, and as a means of having that non-consensual intercourse with another person. And that's a serious crime. You know, he could be punished up to 8 years, and under Megan's law, he's going to have to register as a lifetime sex offender. So that question of consent is extremely critical here.
Yeah. Now, Terry, in Weinstein and Cosby, we saw the prosecution have to address the myths of when and why people don't report. Do you get the sense the prosecution is explaining that well enough to the jury in the context of this insular group, the Church of Scientology?
You know, the prosecutor has to make sure they explain that explicitly. There is definitely going to be someone on that jury who doesn't understand that. People think, okay, something happened to you. Why didn't you report it immediately? It is a very important concept, and they're going to have to make sure that each and every one of those jurors understands that people don't report for a number of reasons. It doesn't mean that the crime did not occur.
Yeah, we'll see if that point gets driven home in this case. Well, moving on to the next story, where the Capitol Police officers who were supposed to be watching Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home on Friday when her husband was attacked were not actually monitoring the cameras. The Washington Post reports that Capitol Police first installed surveillance cameras around the Pelosi home more than 8 years ago. But an officer on duty overnight did not realize something was wrong until San Francisco police showed up at the scene. David DePape is now facing both federal and state charges. He's accused of breaking into the home and attacking 82-year-old Paul Pelosi with a hammer. DePape pled not guilty to state charges on Tuesday. Paul Pelosi is recovering from his injuries, which include a skull fracture from the attack. Starting in August, lawmakers were given up to $10,000 each to set up security systems at their home.